You walk into a room, and somehow, without saying much, without doing anything loud or dramatic, people notice you. Not because you dressed a certain way, not because you said something clever, not because you were the most successful person there, but because there was something about you, a quality, a weight, a presence. Something that didn't need an introduction, something that arrived before you even opened your mouth. You felt that from other people before. Someone who just holds your attention without trying. You find yourself listening more carefully when they speak. You find yourself remembering what they said long after the conversation ended. And maybe you've wondered, why doesn't that feel like me? Why do I leave rooms feeling like I disappeared inside them? Why do I say things and watch them land without weight? Why does it feel like some people are just built differently? Here's what nobody tells you. Presence isn't about being louder. It's not about being more confident, more attractive, or more interesting. It's not about having the right stories or the perfect sense of humor. It's about something deeper, something quieter, something that most people accidentally destroy in themselves every single day without even knowing they're doing it. And the strange part? The people who seem impossible to ignore, they're usually not trying to be. In fact, the trying is exactly what gets in the way. So what's actually happening when someone walks into a room and the air shifts? What is that quality, and where does it come from? That's what we're going to understand today. And by the end of this, you won't just understand it intellectually, you'll feel where it lives inside you, because it was always there. Think about someone you know who commands attention just by existing. Maybe it's a quiet coworker who never forces conversations. They don't insert themselves into every discussion. They don't fill every silence with something to say. But when they speak, the whole room slows down to listen. People lean in slightly without realizing it. Nobody interrupts them. Maybe it's someone at a dinner table who isn't the funniest or the loudest. They're not performing, they're not competing, but you keep finding yourself glancing in their direction, wondering what they're thinking, feeling strangely comfortable in their presence. What do they have? Psychologists call it psychological presence, and cognitive scientists have been studying it for decades. It's not charisma in the Hollywood sense. It's not a personality type you're either born with or you're not. It's not something you build through affirmations or a new wardrobe. It's a state of nervous system regulation, attentional signal, and something called behavioral congruence, where what you think, feel, and do are all pointing in the same direction. No contradiction, no performance, no gap between who you are and how you show up. And when that alignment exists in a person, the brain of everyone around them picks it up, automatically, without effort, without a single word needing to be spoken. Here's the psychology behind why that happens. The human brain is constantly running threat detection in the background. A region called the amygdala is always scanning the environment, not just for physical danger, but for social signals. Who is safe? Who is unpredictable? Who should I pay attention to? This happens faster than conscious thought. It happens before you've processed a single sentence someone has said. When you're around someone who is scattered, performative, or trying too hard, your amygdala quietly flags it. Not consciously. You don't think, this person is nervous. You just feel slightly on edge around them, or slightly drained, or slightly uninterested without knowing why. That's your threat detection system picking up on incongruence, a mismatch between what the person wants you to see and what their nervous system is actually broadcasting. But when you're around someone who's grounded, whose voice doesn't rush, whose eye contact doesn't flinch, whose stillness feels intentional, your nervous system relaxes. The amygdala quiets, and that relaxation creates pull. This is called co-regulation. Your nervous system mirrors the one nearest it. It's the same reason you feel calm around certain people and anxious around others, even before they've said a word. So a calm, regulated person doesn't just feel good to be around, they actually change how your brain feels in real time. They lower your cortisol, they make your thoughts feel clearer. And the brain always wants more of what makes it feel that way. It gravitates toward it. It remembers it. It calls it magnetic. Here's the metaphor that makes this easy to understand. Think of human attention like a compass needle. It doesn't point toward what's loud. It doesn't point toward what's flashy or forceful. It points toward what's magnetic. And magnetism, real magnetism, comes from stillness inside movement. Like a candle flame in a quiet room. It's small. It doesn't shout. It doesn't compete with anything. But it pulls every eye towards it. Not because it demands attention, but because everything around it makes the pull feel natural. Now here's the question that opens everything up. If this quality is so powerful, if it creates pull, creates trust, creates genuine connection, why do most people accidentally destroy it in themselves? Why does it feel so rare? Because modern life trains you to do the exact opposite. It trains you to perform, to fill silence with noise, to answer too quickly, explain too much, apologize for taking up space, to shrink in rooms where you feel uncertain, to inflate in rooms where you feel threatened. Every time you over-explain yourself to someone who didn't ask, every time you laugh before your joke lands just to soften the risk of it not landing, every time you check your phone in a social setting because silence feels unbearable, every time you nod too quickly just to show you're listening, you are leaking presence. You are sending a signal that says, I am not fully here. I am managing how I appear. Psychologists call this self-monitoring behavior. High self-monitors are constantly adjusting their behavior based on what they think others want to see. And while some self-monitoring is socially intelligent, too much of it creates an anxious, fragmented version of yourself that people can sense. Not consciously, but they feel it. The internal experience of high self-monitoring is exhausting. You leave every social situation replaying what you said. You feel drained by interactions that should feel easy. You wonder why connection feels like so much work. And the external effect is invisibility. You become someone people look through, not at. Not because you're not interesting, but because your signal is too noisy. The performance is drowning out the person. And here's the reframe that changes everything. If you felt invisible in certain rooms, if you felt like people look past you, or conversations feel shallow, or nobody seems to really see you, that is not a flaw in who you are. That is not evidence that you are less interesting, less worthy, or less capable of connection. That is a symptom of a nervous system that never was taught how to settle. A nervous system that learned at some point that being seen was dangerous, that being yourself wasn't quite enough, that you needed to manage, adjust, perform. Evolutionary psychology explains where this comes from. Humans who were constantly alert to social judgment had higher survival rates in tribal groups. Being ignored meant being excluded. Being excluded meant losing access to food, shelter, protection. Being excluded in the ancient world meant dying. So your brain learned to perform, to monitor, to adjust, to shrink in rooms where you feel uncertain, to inflate in rooms where you feel threatened. That pattern kept your ancestors alive, but it's making you invisible in a boardroom, on a first date, in a conversation you actually want to reach. You're not broken. You're running old software on a new world, and old software can be updated. So how do you actually change this? Not with performance, not with tricks, not with a list of techniques you layer on top of anxiety like paint over rust, but with 5 psychology-backed principles that work at the level of your nervous system, that rewire how others experience you by changing how you experience yourself. Principle 1. Slow your responses by 2 seconds. When someone asks you a question, pause before you answer. Not awkwardly, not dramatically, just intentionally. 2 full seconds of genuine consideration before you speak. This works because of something called processing fluency. When you respond instantly, the brain of the listener registers it as reactive, as if you were simply waiting for your turn to talk, as if the words were already loaded before the question finished. But a brief, calm pause does something different. It signals that you are actually considering what was asked, that what you say next has been chosen, not just released, that your words carry weight because you gave them weight first. People feel this difference without being able to name it, They lean in, they listen differently. Next time someone asks your opinion at work, at a dinner, in any social setting, take one slow breath before you answer. Not to stall, to settle. Watch how differently people receive what you say. Principle 2. Let silence be comfortable. Most people treat silence like a fire they need to put out immediately. The moment a conversation pauses, they rush to fill it with filler words, half-formed thoughts, nervous laughter, unnecessary explanation. Because silence feels like failure, like something has gone wrong, like the other person is judging the gap. But silence, handled calmly, is one of the most powerful social signals available to you. Psychologically, it activates something called the discomfort resolution response in others. When you sit comfortably in silence, the other person feels a pull to fill it.